Hello, trading is closed on November 28th, 2025. As always, we'll start with our disclaimer, go over our calls, and then make our predictions. It's my trading plan for Monday, which is December 1st, 2025. Right now, it's just a plan. I can be completely wrong. I can change it, and all trades should be made at your own risk. Thanks to all the people who wish me a speedy recovery from my recent accident. I'm coming along fine, but again, I'm not at full strength. And because I have a lot of rehab sessions, I may not be risking my own money on some of these calls. I just might not be around to close them out. We looked for the pattern on Friday with the early high, which is this. Monday has the early low. We said the pattern with the gap up and higher high and closing under all these highs is a negative pattern. If it's maintained, we said if a perfect setup for gapping down and dropping all day, but we have to wait for the open because if we didn't gap down, the pattern was killed. Well, we didn't gap down, we gapped up, promptly took out this high, and the open on Friday substitutes for Wednesday's close, so that killed the pattern. This is a reminder of what we said. These are next week's patterns. Start with the early low. A couple of things about this pattern. That's a wall. That's a wall with gap pattern. Very often, this is not a stable pattern. At some point, this tends to fill. We tend to drop, fill the gap, and find support under the wall. It doesn't have to happen Monday, and if it doesn't happen by Tuesday's open, it doesn't even have to happen anytime soon. But there's a strong tendency for this to fill, usually within a day or so. We also have a wall into the close. Sharp moves like this in the last 10 minutes of the day don't really impress me. Prior to that, we gapped up, hit a higher high. We're under all the high. This last 10 minutes, that's not serious money. Now, when it happens on a Friday, it can just keep going. There's nothing requiring this to fail that I have, because Friday's moves usually follow through into Monday's open. But the timing is very suspect, and if it fails, that's an if. If it fails, we're going to probably gap down and undercut this, and that we're not going to know until we see the open. But if so, it's still a negative pattern with a potential target of undercutting this low. And if we don't gap down, take this over, then there's no call, then there's no pattern. We had an ultimate buy signal during the day, and that's already played out. Let's take a look at the long-term picture, or at least let's make this intermediate-term picture. This was the wave count I had. We had a wave 2 ending here. We had 3, and we're trying to count the fourth wave. This could be an ABC for the end of the fourth wave, could be A of the fourth wave. Let's focus in on a smaller time frame and see if there's a way to count this. And there's actually more than one way that works for me, and any count that doesn't break any rules has to be considered as a possible count. Well, here was the all-time high. It's possible to count this as an ABC for A of the fourth wave. This wave here, if this is ABC, stops right at 78.6% of wave black A. B would retrace 78.6%, and you would have an A, B, C pattern, with C being equal to A. Furthermore, if you look at wave B, all these fibs work, and this wave C could be counted as a 5-wave structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If that's a 5-wave structure going up, if that's the 5 waves for C, and that's equal to A, you could certainly count this as wave black B being completed if this holds. Now again, we have no idea if that's going to hold. But if it holds, you got 5 waves up, you got A equal to C, and it's a valid count. Now if that's right, and if my target of trying to show this, it's not letting me. If my target of 64, 90, 53 is going to work, you'd like there to be some kind of fibrillationship between black A and black C. And if this is the height of black A, we can come close. We don't hit it exactly, but that's one of the possible counts. I mean, it's not the only possible count, but if we stop here, and that's if in capital letters, you can make that work. Among the other valid counts are this one. I mean, you can still have wave 3 ending here. You can have this as A. You can count this as an ABC with C equal to A ending right there. I mean, here's gold A. You have your ABC for gold A. And you have this for gold C. And you can see how gold C and gold A are exactly equal. So it's possible to count this as an ABC for the end of magenta B, again, if we stop here. And if we do stop there, you can take the height of magenta A, set it at 61.8%, and set magenta C at 100%, and you hit my long-standing target. So that's another count that works if we stop here. So if we stop here, we have a wave count supporting it. We have a wall into the close. We have a wall with gap that usually fills. So if we stop here, we could be starting a drop, but we haven't stopped here yet. This is a strong move, and I don't see any harm in waiting to see how we open. If we gap down here, I think it's reasonable to consider a short position with a stop over here, because if we stop here, the fib counts work, the wave counts work. Just remember, just because these counts work, that doesn't mean something else won't. Monday's pattern has the early low regardless of where we open. Typically it's a rally day with a final hour high, but if it's weak, we see more weakness. The strong rally into the close nearly always follows through with Monday's open. It is somewhat negative that that doesn't happen. If we gap down Monday, and that's an if, then this last move is a false move and we have lower targets. Continuing higher can't be assured for several reasons. There's a wall into the close. Friday left a wall with gap pattern behind. There are wave counts compatible with the current leg higher as having ended. We can count 5 waves up. We can count A equal to C. There's all kinds of counts that work, but if we just trade up here, those counts are killed, and that we don't know yet. So we'll have to see where we open. It's the pattern with the early low. Usually it's a positive pattern, but if it's weak early, the weakness tends to continue for more than a day. So if the first 1 to 2 hours is down smartly, then this is probably going to hold. And if they aren't, then probably that's not the right count. It's the pattern with the early low, and that's today's call.